Hey guys, it's Sarah from Hunt's Exotics Foundation, and today we are at Treasure Cove Pets in beautiful Spring Hill. I'm here today with the owners, Cameron and Brittany, and obviously Sydney's here with her new bestie. She never goes anywhere without me, right? So we're gonna find out what makes this place what it is. So I'm gonna start with both of you guys. Do you have a history with reptiles and exotics? Which I should add in, this is not just a reptile store. Well, you'll see that in the full tour later. But this is also a mammal store and a fish store. Alright? So do you have a history with these species?
Yeah, I mean, both of us, we grew up with animals and had the hobby. We kind of grew up watching, Jeff Corwin and Crocodile Hunter, so it was just natural to us to want to get into the hobby. We've had animals for 20 years, so it just kind of made it worth it for us to kind of come in here and be able to do something like this.
What about you?
I've been in the hobby for years. My first reptile was a ball python, and I went from both bearded dragons and kept going. So we've been in the hobby for 20 plus years. We were customers here for 10 to 15 years prior, and when the opportunity came up, we just couldn't say no to being a part of the shop.
So actually, when I came in here the first day, Crocodile Hunter was on TV. I noticed it instantly when I came in the door. Beyond that, something I noticed, I was here on a weekday. This place was slammed. I think it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I personally have not been in a pet store, especially on a weekday, that had the volume coming through that this place does.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it was definitely fun.
So we're going to move this way into the reptile section of the store. It's actually pretty impressive. I always start out talking to you guys about the smell in the store. You guys follow me.
Yeah.
It smells clean. It doesn't have that rodent smell. It doesn't have the deodorizer. It's just clean. The store itself is clean. The enclosures are on point. Something that I note that is a big deal for me. The cages that are appropriate to have foggers, they have foggers. A lot of stores will actually skip that step because it's another step to do.
Yeah.
And the ones that need it, they have it, and I love that, and that makes a big deal for me. So what is your passion species? Each of you, because I know they're separate.
I love chameleons and bearded dragons.
Chameleons and bearded dragons. All right, what's your favorite chameleon species?
Chameleons.
Whales. Okay. What about you? What do you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with panthers. Obviously they're top tier, and then I like monitors. I got a little active monitor at my shop, and then we have a mangrove monitor at the house. Small, but
we have a mangrove too, and I love her. My dream species, and I'll have one day, is a black dragon.
Oh.
I desperately want a black dragon. The most terrifying species I've ever worked with, and it was before I really did much of the hands-on, was a Nile monitor. Probably 20 years ago, that was actually my first interaction with reptiles was a Nile monitor.
You know what? So was mine, actually. What was the guy that used to do it?
Congratulations, we made it, and we didn't stop there.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Well, it was too, and it was we didn't know. So 20 years ago, you could get them, and now you can't even.
I don't even think they're legal.
No,
correct?
you can't.
They shouldn't be. By the way.
Yeah, very.
By the way, nobody needs a Nile monitor.
No.
Just nobody needs one. Maybe a zoo. Iguana Land. Ty can have the Nile monitors.
Yeah.
We'll skip them.
I can definitely have them.
We don't need them. They should not be in the pet trade, and you cannot have them in Florida. They're basically a crocodile.
Yeah.
An angry crocodile.
Yeah.
All right. What would you say is the biggest, I don't want to say struggle, let's say challenge that you overcome here?
Keeping up with the demand for feeders.
Yeah.
Keeping up with the demand for feeders is the biggest challenge.
You guys have one of the most extensive feeder menus, and we'll talk about, I'll film it and show it to you guys. Actually, when I came back in today, I had questions because they actually had a feeder up here that I wasn't familiar with, and neither was Devin. And, Devin went to zoo school and he does all that mess. So their feeder list is extensive. What do you sell the most of?
Crickets and rats.
And rats, yeah. And that you get that cricket shortage. We were talking about that the first time, or rat shortage. I'm sorry, but
the seasonal rat
shortage. It gets a little crazy, and it's hard to keep up with that demand. And the more popular the store gets, the more demand we have for it. So it's a challenge for sure.
Cut this. Okay, so we're back. We're at Treasure Cove pet store in Spring Hill still. We have Brittany and Cameron and Sydney, obviously my co-host. We're gonna get a little deep on this, more than we ever would on like a Facebook or Instagram poll. All right, guys. So you've been in the industry for a while now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like the industry is open both ways? So as far as like business owners, but then also, do you feel like it's like the idea share, or do you feel like it's still very campy and secret? You can be honest.
I think it goes both ways. I think that there are people in the industry that we are closer with that do give us inspiration, ideas, advice, and then we do take it very personal to heart when they do. Although there's part of the industry and part of the other stores that do not. They do gatekeep. And that's okay too. You know, healthy competition.
Yeah, a little competition is good for everybody, I feel. But yeah, for the most part, everybody is pretty helpful. But yeah, you can get some people in the industry that don't want to or don't share their information, and that's fine too. We can understand that.
I say yes, but no at the same time. They're much nicer than me. You know, I'm gonna say what it is. I think that if we keep it quiet and if everybody's so quiet about everything, you can't learn from it. So if we're learning, I'll use ball pythons as an example. If we're noticing something, we've come up with a new morph or we're working with a new morph and we're seeing that the babies aren't good eaters. And sometimes that does happen. Listen, reptile people, do not come at me. I know it. I'm not the reptile expert, but it happens. Certain species just don't do as well. Or more, maybe the eggs aren't as viable. If we talk about it, we can stop, sometimes that saves people 2 or 3 years of trying to go through it. And then you're going to have to not physically trash, but they're going to stop the project. Where do you want to see this go? And then we're going to step over and check out some of their staff's cool stuff. And I'm going to pick on the store manager again. She's great and she's super knowledgeable. But where do you guys want to see this going, let's say 2 years and 5 years?
So yeah, I mean, I'd love to just kind of still be in the hobby and provide information to the people that are trying to get it, So this store is a basic pet store. So we got a lot of new timers, new beginners. So we like to be able to educate them and make sure that they do know what they need to get these animals and they have the right stuff so that we can continue to spread the culture of reptiles and hobbyists and collectors.
Children are the future. This is actually one of the reasons that we took over the pet shop was we have a 3-year-old and we want him to be able to grow up and have an awesome pet shop to come to. And we want other kids to be able to do the same thing, learn. We have great staff that does educate and they do a great job with the kids also. And I think that is really important to me and to Cameron.
Yeah.
But we'd like to see this place double in size.
Yeah, it's like the old building.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, we really want to see
got
it.
Some plans.
It has a lot more potential than we can imagine.
Okay, we didn't talk about this ahead of time, but I have to ask them. What's it like to work together? Keeping in mind, my husband and I work together. He works a full-time job, but I am with the animals all day and every day. And then when he's off, do you love working together or is it some love, hate? What do you got?
I love it so far. It's not too bad.
We split a lot of the responsibilities and we're not really here together too often.
Yeah.
Cameron has another business that he runs. I have a full-time job also, and we have a child and a little hobby farm. So we keep very busy. But working together has been fun. We kind of, again, split the responsibilities, the duties. I do a lot of the ordering and the back end stuff. He's always here cleaning, fixing something. So
building, making the place look good.
So
we have our specialties in our fields,
So as you guys know, Devin is not on film very often because he's always fixing whatever the animals break and working on new enclosures. So it sounds like that's a lot like what happens here. I always want to ask if couples work together, how they work together, because I don't generally see much more of anything other than the foundation or when I'm going to pick up rescues or I'm going to the vet or I'm going to Tractor Supply. That's what I do. So I'm always curious to see how other people do them. Do you see this wallaby? She has a new bestie. I'm a little jealous. She doesn't normally settle this well with other people. And I don't normally let other people hold her. I know. She's a sweet girl. All right. So we're gonna stop here and I am going to go over and pick on their staff. Like I told you, I'm gonna pick on the store staff here. This is Aria, and she's actually the manager. If you notice in her hands, she has a spider. What do you want to tell us about your spider?
Well, now that we're on the topic of spiders, I have to say that this is a tarantula, and they are slightly different, which is something I'd like to talk about.
Yes.
They do have different aspects to them, like their little paw pads. They actually have paw pads that are very similar to hamsters or anything like that. It kind of feels like holding a hamster, not gonna lie. They also have hair and little aspects that make them different from spiders, but they are still arachnids.
Okay.
But this one in particular is a gold knee. She is a ducky. She is my personal tarantula. And I've had her since she was just a little baby. And as you can see, she's webbing all over me.
Okay, so I'm gonna add a spider to my education program eventually, but I should also warn you that if I don't know it's there, that's probably like my girly freak out. Like if I walk into a spider web.
Oh, totally normal.
It's not my proudest moment. However, I feel like I'm working my way up to a spider. I've looked at them at the last 2 Daytonas, which is the National Reptile Breeders Expo. What tarantula species would you pick specifically for like an education animal? I know some of them have like not such great temperaments.
Definitely.
Some of them are great.
So honestly, any of your knee species, so you're going to get your red knees, your gold knees, striped knees, those are usually relatively docile from my experience. Also curly hairs, as long as you get them when they're young and work with them, they can be really, really well handled too. I would definitely put those as the beginners. For me, my very first tarantula was an Arizona blonde, and I think those guys are also phenomenal beginners. They're just a little harder to come by nowadays.
Okay. And what does she eat and how often does she eat?
She eats large crickets. Occasionally I give her discoid roaches as well. And I try to feed her once a week, but sometimes they don't always take it once a week. I give her about 3 crickets, large crickets weekly. But sometimes she will go up to 3 weeks without eating.
All right. And then if you are holding a tarantula, is there any, no judging, is there any like body language that you look for? Like she looks very comfortable on you.
Yeah.
What do you look for that makes you concerned or?
So really the top front, those are the pedipalpals. They will start tapping them and tapping her legs a little bit, and she might want to dart after that. Those are kind of the signs I
So
look
this
for.
body language she's okay with?
Yeah, so that her right now with her tapping is just kind of figuring it out, feeling around. And the front 2 are the pedipalpals. Those are where she will start kind of tapping, and that's how you know she's going to either dart or, kind of show some sign of discomfort. Definitely signs you want to look out for sure. Don't want a tarantula run up your arm.
Okay, now you guys here have most of the spider supplies, right?
Yeah.
And you normally have spiders in stock. All right, what is the substrate that you suggest for tarantulas?
So for me, and this goes for any reptile that you want to put on any loose substrate, I do recommend a mix. It definitely provides some good enrichment. For me, for her, I use the Reptisoil and Eco Earth mixture.
Okay.
For your more desert base, I do like to throw some good Reptisand in there too for some structure.
Okay, let's talk about jumping spiders. I know that's like the thing when you go to the shows, the habitats, they're so cute. This is yes, right? This is a jumping spider habitat. They have a bunch of these here. The spiders right up here. I don't know if you can see it. What is their life expectancy?
I would say 2 to 3 years if you're lucky.
All right. And how often and what do they eat?
I feed our guys weekly. I also feed them 3 or 4 crickets weekly.
Smalls.
And then I miss daily.
She handed me a tarantula and I thought I was going to die, but I am good with it. I've been working on it. Now I'm pretty sure they can tell that I'm nervous, but like I'm not terrified of them.
She's very forgiving.
That's a good thing. She's cute. She has kind of a pink vibe, and I like it a lot.
She's getting more pinker with age.
Is that normal?
Yeah.
Or is it like it's unique to her?
It's pretty normal. It's for goldies. That's how I also she's more likely a female. So.
Okay, Aria and I are back. You already know what's coming. So you guys sell a ton of bearded dragons, right? We are hearing so much about bearded dragons. We have 2 at the foundation. One of them is Prince Charming. He's a fairy tale dragon. He's beautiful. He's also sassy. By sassy, I mean he's an attitude.
Most of them do.
Yes. So, I see a lot of misinformation on bearded dragons. Are you stretching? Okay, thank you. If I was to come in and tell you that I was purchasing a female pied beardy, what would you tell me would be the optimal setup so we're not looking at metabolic bone disease and we're doing the right things?
So I will always point towards your UVB and your calcium. Those are going to be your essentials. Diet also plays a big role in them. I know earlier you had asked me the difference between butterworms and waxworms, and things like butterworms have a higher calcium content, so doing things like that and supplementing things like that or black soldier fly larvae is always good to just make sure that calcium has a good boost.
Okay. What substrate would you pick?
As far as the substrates we have right now, I don't have any that I would honestly personally put them on. Our dragons here are on tile as of right now, but you can use sands. I know that's kind of controversial, but I do recommend more natural based sands like your Australian sand and things like that. As long as your husbandry is good and you have proper hydration, usually they have no problem with you being on loose substrate.
Okay. What about lighting? Lighting is a biggie.
100%. So as far as the UVBs go, we do carry these bulbs, and honestly, if no one has the opportunity to get linear bulbs, I will always say this is better than nothing. Okay. So doing those bulbs is just as fine as long as you have something for the time being. But okay, these are going to be always the bulbs that I
All right, so these are the T5s. This is what everybody is using now. This is your best option for your bearded dragon. Honestly, most of your reptiles that need lighting will do well with a T5. We at the foundation, we use the Zoo Med stuff normally. I know there's a couple other brands. That's just what we normally use because I'm just used to buying Zoo Med. See, Zoo Med, you should like us. All right, so you would get the T5 on a bearded dragon that size. What size tank would you do?
So we have her in a 40 right now, which is fine for her size right now, but always bigger is better. I really like to go for the 75 breeders. Okay.
And then you would go for the 24 versus the 14. Is this a 14?
100%.
Or this is 22. But
honestly, as the more tank you can cover,
okay,
better.
And then a basking spot of some sort. Could be a tile, could be whatever, correct? And then obviously waters are a little controversial. Some people don't put a water bowl in at all and they mist daily. We do keep a water bowl in with all of our dragons. I have seen them drink out of it. Not often, but they do. Do you do the same?
I always recommend just giving them that option because even if you look in their natural habitat, they are known to jump into water to swim, to be near water. Yep. So
we have one that actually likes to almost, I don't want to say he plays in the water, but he doesn't not play in the water.
Yeah, it's super common actually.
So we do the same. Okay, and then this is so important. Let's talk about calcium. And if we don't have calcium in their diet and they're not eating protein, because let's ask somebody that does this professionally. Are bearded dragons herbivores?
No. No.
Should an adult bearded dragon just be eating mostly fruits and some vegetables?
Absolutely not. No, that is how you definitely fall under the metabolic bone disease and other issues.
So when you are feeding your bugs, which she's already discussed the appropriate bugs for a bearded dragon, correct? All right, so what calcium should you be using? And they have something we haven't even tried yet. So which one do you suggest?
All right, so for the beardies particularly, I would always shoot for the one with D3 because we cannot provide real sunlight. This is going to give you that little boost that you need. But for those picky dragons, I really like to push the banana and strawberry flavored one. It seems to be a little more palatable for most of them. So if you can't have issues with that one, this is always the next go-to.
Awesome. All right, perfect. Thank you so much. We're going to kind of tag this as like a guide to your bearded dragon. We want to see them taken care of the right way. Do you suggest a temp gun?
I do. I suggest that for any of your reptiles that need any kind of lighting. That's going to be your go-to next to a thermostat.
Because saying it feels hot enough just isn't it,
no,
correct?
No, never is, no. Because we feel temperature way different than the reptiles do.
Correct. Thank you so much, Aria, for talking to me about tarantulas and about bearded dragons.
Sure. My pleasure.
All right, got one more staff member to pick on. This is Nick. Nick, what do you have right here?
So I have here Echo. He is a baby savanna monitor. And unfortunately, he has MBD, which is caused by having lack of UVB and calcium in their diet. Unfortunately, he was actually just dropped off here in a box one morning, and I took him to the vet, and he's doing way better than he did when I first had him.
He's little. How old do you think he is?
Probably 6 months.
Okay.
He's still very young, and you can kind of see he has some deformities here.
Yep,
when we did an X-ray on him, he had barely calcium in his bones. You could barely see the actual glow. So he's he's doing much better. He's put on liquid calcium for about 2 weeks. I have to syringe feed him from time to time, just to make sure he's getting the proper nutrition. The other day I did throw a super worm, and he did run after it. So,
That's awesome.
So
That's
he's doing
great.
Yeah, he's doing so much better.
Juvenile Savannah monitor, which we do have a Savannah monitor. Some of you guys have met Savvy, the sassy 2-year-old Savannah monitor. So what should a juvenile Savannah monitor be eating?
So honestly, even as adults, they really should be eating a lot of insects.
Okay.
Even in the wild, I read about studies and did like gut content on them, and even the adults are eating nothing but bugs.
Okay.
They found almost no like carrion in their diet.
Really?
In the babies, they found like a little bit more, so like a little bit amphibians, but it's mostly millipedes and termites.
Okay. Very interesting. I learned that. What temp do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, so they like it pretty warm. So I would say a hot spot from anywhere from 110 to about 130.
Okay.
So they get really nice and warm.
Awesome. So I already warned Nick. I want him to explain why we want these T5 lights. This is, I would say, maybe the last 2 years, the T5s have kind of been coming up, and now you're going to see that that's mostly what is being recommended. And I want to ask why. I know that we do it, but I don't actually know the science behind why we do it.
So pretty much the T5 bulbs are just more concentrated than your T8s.
Okay.
So they're able to kind of just like fit more of like the chemicals that you create the UVB, because it's like a chemical reaction inside the bulb itself, which is why they actually have to change out every 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
Because it just stops.
Okay, learning new things every day. See, I always ask why, right? Almost to like the rude point. So now I know why that we use T5s, and now I know that we should have them marked so that we're replacing them every 6 to 8 months. Awesome. Do you have any of your other pets here with you today?
I do.
All right, let's let him pull his other pets so we could see. All right, so we're going to see Nick's other babies that are here. I heard him talking about them with a guest or customer here a few minutes ago. Now I want to hear you tell me about them because they look fabulous.
Yeah, so these are 2 of my 6 redfoot tortoises. So I have 4 babies at home. This is Azula, and this is Edward. She's probably around 7 years old, and he's close to 10.
Okay.
With her, I actually found her. I went to Lettuce Lake Park in Tampa on a nature walk, and I just found her a few years ago.
Side note, they're not native to Florida.
Yeah, I saw her meeting. I'm like, she's a redfoot. She should not be out here.
That is not a gopher. Nope.
Nope, definitely not a gopher.
What do you feed?
So they eat a very varied diet. So they get various greens. They get like collard greens, mustard greens, romaine lettuce, dandelion greens.
No iceberg.
Yeah, no
iceberg. We don't feed our animals iceberg.
They also get an arrangement of fruits.
Okay.
I like to go more based on what they eat natively, so a lot more tropicals like mangoes or papaya. They really enjoy that a lot. As you see on her face too, she just has the Missouri tortoise pellet as well.
Did she eat it well? I struggle to get ours to eat. Our tortoise is not a big fan of pellets. I kind of have to trick them into eating it sometimes. I try and they probably don't eat it as much as I should.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily a necessity, I'd say. It's more of like an additive. So, like, of course, variety is key for their diets. You don't want to make sure they're not eating the same thing all the time. So these guys get 3 different greens every single week. I kind of chop them up and change it up. Another thing about these guys, too, is what makes redfoots a lot different than most of the tortoises, they do require protein. Mm-hmm. So once in a while, they'll get boiled egg. They love boiled shrimp. I've given them some insects before. If it's only like once a week, every 2 weeks.
Especially when they're babies, they need the protein, right? And do you have to soak them, or they have their own area to soak themselves? So
at this age, I don't have to really soak them every day. I do have a nice big, like kind of pond area for them, because I keep these guys outdoors. Of course, when it gets too cold, they come inside.
It's that time of year.
Yep, that time of year. We just had a massive cold front, so they immediately came in. They've been in for a few days, but hopefully
we moved all 27 tortoises in and out, except for the sulcatas that are too big to move in and out. They have their own heater. They look amazing. Yes.
Yeah, I keep them outdoors, and that's kind of key. Keeping them outdoors so they get the natural humidity, natural UVB. Tortoises and a lot of turtle species too do the best outdoors, and that's I even have babies. They're yearlings, and they're outdoors in a predator-proof cage.
I love it. They look really, really healthy. Do they have different personalities?
Oh yeah, as you see, she is way more outgoing.
Oh,
She's
is.
out
She's
and about,
doing?
And he wants just to hide. Every single time I try to pick him up and interact with him, he's just very shy.
He's just shy.
And he's been like that from the moment I got him too. I've been trying to work with him, but it's just his personality.
All right, guys. So
You've done a
here's the
phenomenal
part
job.
you guys really
Thank
want.
you so much, Nick.
Absolutely.
This is the store tour. So we're at Treasure Cove Pet Shop in Spring Hill. What we were just on was their massive feeder menu. You can screenshot to see it all. The store is clean. You'll see that they have a ton of different brands that they're carrying. They obviously carry Missouri. This is their small animals. The store doesn't stink at all. It's very clean. It's very organized. They're cute little skinny pigs. So I'm not a specialty. My specialty is not fish or aquatic plants or anything. But all of their fish looked healthy. The aquariums were all clear, which I think that's a big deal. They had lots of accessories while I was there. A ton of people were getting water change outs and all sorts of stuff like that. There's more Missouri. More fish. I tried to get some pricing for you guys. Some live plants, which I love to see live plants. Lots of frog and arachnid supplies. They had thermostats. They had heat guns. Some really cool art. I like the art. What are you going to do? Anyways, over here, here's their live animal collection. This is their arachnids. If you saw earlier in the video, we talked about that. I felt like their collection of arachnid supplies was actually pretty impressive. Pumpkin patch. Love it. Everything was clean. Everything was fed appropriately. The animals were out and interacting. They weren't all hiding. Hi, buddy. So cute. Tons of different substrates, but I will tell you, I appreciated that they would say, we don't actually have the substrate right now. We're sold out of what we'd suggest. And they would tell you where to find it, actually. So overall, this was a big yes for me. I love that they have foggers on their enclosures. If you are in Spring Hill, this is the place to go for all of your small exotic animal supplies, and definitely your reptile supplies. Stay wild.